Could it be that the richest man in West Africa today is not who we think it is? Long before the era of oil billionaires, private jets, and global corporations, there lived a merchant whose wealth and influence stretched across colonial West Africa. Some historians even argue that if his fortune were calculated in today's terms, he might still rival modern billionaires. His name was Alhassan Dantata. But who exactly was this man? How did a trader operating in the early 20th century build such immense wealth and influence at a time when Africans had limited access to global markets? And perhaps most intriguingly, how did his legacy quietly shape the rise of one of Africa's most powerful businessmen today? To understand the legend of Alhassan Dantata, we must travel back to northern Nigeria in the late 19th century. Born in 1877 in Kano, a city that had long been a vibrant hub of trade in the trans-Saharan and regional markets, Dantata grew up in an environment where commerce was not just a profession but a way of life. His family already had roots in trading. His father was involved in commercial activities that connected local markets with wider trading networks. For the young Dantata, markets, negotiations, and caravans of goods were part of everyday life. It was here that he learned the basic principles of commerce, trust, patience, and relationships. However, his journey was not one of instant success. Like many traders of his time, he started small. He began by assisting established merchants and learning the practical skills of buying, selling, transporting, and negotiating. These early experiences became the foundation of what would later grow into a powerful commercial empire. Dantata's first major engagement in trade involved commodities that were highly valuable in colonial markets, especially groundnuts, which were widely exported from northern Nigeria to Europe. At the time, the global demand for agricultural commodities was rising, and northern Nigeria was becoming an important supplier. Dantata quickly realized the opportunity. Rather than remaining a small-scale trader, he began expanding his operations, buying goods in large quantities, organizing transportation, and establishing reliable networks of suppliers. Slowly but steadily, his reputation grew. Merchants trusted him. Farmers trusted him. Even colonial trading companies began to recognize his ability to move large quantities of goods efficiently. What made Dantata different from other traders? First, he understood the power of networks. Instead of operating alone, he built a wide network of agents and representatives who worked for him across different regions. These agents helped him buy goods directly from producers, ensuring both supply and loyalty. Second, he mastered the art of trust-based business. In an era where formal contracts were not always common, reputation meant everything. Dantata developed a reputation for honesty, reliability, and fairness. This reputation became one of his greatest assets. Third, he thought long-term. While many traders focused on quick profits, Dantata invested in relationships, infrastructure, and logistics. This allowed him to handle large volumes of trade that others simply could not manage. Of course, his path was not without risks. Trade during that period involved significant challenges. Transportation was difficult, markets were unpredictable, and colonial policies often favored European companies. Yet Dantata found ways to navigate these obstacles. He diversified his trade, built strong partnerships, and maintained financial discipline. His ability to adapt to changing conditions ensured that his business remained stable even in uncertain times. By the early 20th century, Dantata had become one of the most powerful merchants in West Africa. His trading empire stretched across multiple regions, and his control of the groundnut trade placed him at the center of one of the most lucrative export industries in the region. At the peak of his influence, he was widely regarded as the richest merchant in northern Nigeria and possibly the entire region. His wealth allowed him to invest in property, support community projects, and expand his commercial operations even further. But perhaps one of the most fascinating aspects of his success was his relationship with British trading companies. During colonial rule, European firms dominated international trade. However, Dantata managed to establish productive partnerships with several British companies. Rather than competing directly with them, he positioned himself as an essential intermediary. His deep understanding of local markets, producers, and supply chains made him invaluable. European companies relied on him to source and organize goods, while he benefited from their access to international markets. This strategic collaboration helped him scale his operations far beyond what most African traders could achieve at the time. Dantata's life was also deeply influenced by his faith and cultural values. As a devout Muslim, he believed strongly in generosity, humility, and community responsibility. These principles shaped how he conducted business and how he used his wealth. He supported religious institutions, helped people in need, and contributed to the development of his community. In many ways, his success was not measured only by profit but also by the positive impact he had on others. Dantata's influence extended far beyond his personal fortune. He became a model for aspiring entrepreneurs across northern Nigeria. His story demonstrated that Africans could build large and successful businesses even within the constraints of colonial economic systems. Alhassan Dantata inspired generations of traders through determination and strategy. His legacy lives on through his great-grandson, Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest businessman.